everyone, and welcome back to this episode of the Law Series here on Dark Matters. And as I say, Dark Matters indeed. So today we welcome back Mr. Blue, aka the last Blue Boar of England. And as we know, on the back of our previous episode, Treason and Tyranny, the deceit runs very deep and dark indeed. We know that this is a spiritual war. We know that we are in the midst of a great awakening, and here we go. The devil is surely in the detail. So without further ado, we are going to crack straight on with it and crack this nut. So, Mr. Blue, are you there? Over to you.
Thank you very much, and welcome everybody. Another cracking show, hopefully for you all, at Dark Matters. If we can bring up the Cartona legal document.
Absolutely. Let's get it up. Let's get it up and shove it right up the proverbials. Hey, Mr. Blue. Okay.
As Mr. Jones says, they don't like it up 'em. They don't like it up 'em.
Well, it's nice to turn the tables, isn't it? And the tables.
It certainly is. Now, if we scroll down just to the comments, because I want this to be very quick, very painless, and I don't want to go on today, right? As we come down to the comments, the Cartona doctrine recognises the blah, 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 all that thing. This is a major exception to the general rule in Bernard v. Dock Workers Labourers Board, 1953, Queen's Bench, 18. No public powers can be delegated.
Yeah, and this is the key point.
That's the key point. So if you go down, so if you keep that in mind, and then we go down, Lord Denning, LJ, and you can read that for yourselves when you come down where it says Court of Appeal heard plaintiff, blah, blah, blah. It is a case of a man acting as a tribunal when he has no right to do so. The courts have always had jurisdiction to deal with such cases. The Cartona for Commission of Works 1943 is a major blah, blah, blah. You can read what it says, guys, for yourself. Power vested in the minister personally. Therefore, he cannot delegate power to any civil servant, to any judge, to anybody. That's the case law. That's what it means.
Yeah. And in a nutshell, Mr. Blue, for those that are obviously on the back of the previous episode we did, which was quite a long one, but it had some great comments because it was 2 hours and 17 minutes. But we needed to lay that groundwork, didn't we? So that we can kind of do a lot of these kind of hopefully shorter, punchier kind of videos to kind of drill it home, really, isn't it? So, like, as an overview, can you just explain to people the importance of that and how far-reaching that is, really? You know,
basically, this demonstrates the limitations of Parliament and or any minister within Parliament, right? And any minister that delegates power is acting illegally and unlawfully. It violates their oaths and their duty, right? And it states it against unauthorised delegation. Civil servants acting under authority of the minister could exercise powers vested in that minister personally. They can't do it. It's as simple as that, guys. So where does Parliament get off stating that it can now delegate powers and it's sovereign? It is not sovereign. It cannot delegate power. Clearly states it. In these two law cases. So if we go back now to the last one that we showed you, which is the Lord Kilmore
got that
document.
Can you see that?
I'm clicking on with it at the same time, to be honest with you, so we know where we are. If we go down to where we sort of spoke earlier, it's the second lot of dark writing, and it's section B. The Crown will be called on to transfer part of its treaty-making powers to those organs of the community. When it's talking about organs of community, it means the EEC. When they were talking, this is 13 years, approximately, 12 and a half years, from when we entered the EEC. So this is when they were already trying to subvert and alter our constitutional sovereign powers. They're ours. And this is what it states. The English Constitution confirms treaty-making powers only on the sovereign. The sovereign cannot transfer those powers to a foreign power, nor even to their own parliament, because they are, what's that last comment there, Carly?
Oh,
Mere servants.
Yes, mere servants of the monarch.
Yeah, sovereignty itself cannot be given away. It, as it resides with the people who entrust it to the monarch. And what's the monarch? It is a public office, nothing more.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing more for her lifetime, and the monarch is obliged by law to pass that sovereignty on to the successor as it was received.
Yeah.
And if they don't do that, it is a serious crime. And it states there, and it's primula to allow any case to be taken to a foreign court, not under the control of the sovereign.
Yeah.
Right.
And
so
yeah, I was struggling with the word. This about this I say preliminary. Preliminary.
Preliminary.
I don't know if people can hear that, but there we go.
Right? That's how we state it. But it's there. Right? The position of Parliament is clear. Matter prepared by legal advisors that the council would eventually, and here's what he's trying to tell you: if you give these powers over to the council, you still can't do it, because they then become in the act of the premier to allow any laws regulated not made by the sovereign in Parliament to affect as English law. And it's also an illegal act as to the King's law. Now, people have missed this, where it basically states if you want to become King of England, you have to basically undergo, and it tells you in this letter, you have to go by the rules of kingship, the laws of kingship.
Yeah.
And if you don't, serious consequences. Now, here we go. Look, this is a complete surrender of our sovereignty, a clear act of treason under the 1351 Treason Act. Now, still in force. The Act still in force. Under the Treason Act 1559, still in force. Supremacy Act 1688, Declaration of Rights, Bill of Rights, still in force by subverting and altering our constitutional rights. And Treasony Felony Act. Now, that's just 5 treasons, 6 treasons. We aren't even going into this document. And every time they try to circumvent our sovereignty or to alter the constitution, it is treason. There is no getting around it. There is no getting involved in it. Our sovereignty cannot be surrendered. It's as simple as that. It is not theirs, and it's Lord Kilmore, Lord Chancellor, to the Queen, states it to Ted Heath, and stated it to the Queen. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
This is it. And the king and or the previous queen should be, coulda, woulda, shoulda. They are the highest servant in the land, but servants they are nonetheless, and sovereignty is held by the people. We delegate that sovereignty in trust to that monarch, don't we?
Yeah, and we state to both Parliament and to the monarch, if we're not happy with Parliament, it's dissolved. Simple as that. 3 point something million, and they pulled it. It was supposed to run to the 6th of January, and they pulled it. It hit 3.1, 3.2, 3.4 million people said we're not happy with Parliament. They've lied to us. They breached their contract with the people. They said they wouldn't do this, this, and this, and within 12 weeks of going in, they smashed every contractual obligation to us.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the big difference between the law and their rules and statutory regulations and whatnot, isn't it? And that's that
Yeah.
distinct.
I mean, look, like we've said before, they're running under the order of precedence, and that's clear. When we go to court, they're working on delegated powers. There is no constitutional court anymore, not one. I don't care whether you go to the High Court, the what is it court, any court in this land is not a constitutional court. Ask them. Simple as that. And all courts must be under constitutional monarchy to be legitimised.
Yeah.
Right? Otherwise, it's the criminal act of extortion, as to Halsby's law book, which we'll show you in a minute. But if we go from this, Carly, on to the next one, because I just want to bang this in. I want people to read these few documents and literally understand what we're saying to them.
Are we going to Halsby's laws?
If that's what you want to go to, we'll go to there.
Okay, I've got that one up. Yeah.
Right. Now, this is obviously one that we've doctored, right? This is one that we've added into. But the first lines are exactly, they are true. You can look it up yourself, guys, okay? The law is absolutely clear on this subject. There is no authority for administrative courts in this country, and no act can be passed to legitimise them because of the constitutional restraints placed upon her monarchy, majesty, at her coronation. Right, the last coronation queen we had was Queen Elizabeth II. She obviously then surrendered authority in 1973 when we joined the EEC, as stated in Lord Kilmore's letter. Therefore, she sank to the level of a standard person. She couldn't do anything else. So Parliament then gave her the title, if you will, of head of state, which is the head of the corporation.
Yeah.
The United Kingdom Corporation, the Great Britain Corporation, and we'll go on to that later on. Because the constitutional restraints of whatever, the collection of revenue such as means is extortion, and extortion has been found represented since ancient times. Suppression of powers today, in the year 2011, we'll find examples, regulations, all the rest of it. This is really a good tip for especially beginners to understand what they've done.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it.
Yeah.
They're trying to tell you that your constitutional rights don't exist. They try to tell us that the Magna Charta or the Great Charter of Liberty doesn't exist. They've taken it away. It's too old. They can't take it away. Parliament does not have the jurisdiction, it doesn't stand in the correct state, and has no authority and can be delegated no authority to remove our common law rights, because they're our rights. They're not their parliaments. Parliaments are mere servants. So how does a servant take away your right or your power?
Exactly, and I think that's that mindset, isn't it? We've literally forgotten who we are, and what a great number they've done on us. You know, I think in the first document with the Barnard v the National Dock Labour, it said the word usurper, and that's literally what's happened. This is a system of usury where they're taking the profits, our profits as beneficiaries, and using them for themselves. You know.
Yeah. Now, if you put that the head of CPS up, now I did some deep diving. There's a couple of bits I wanted to show, but I want to keep it simple.
Yeah.
And with the judges as well. Okay.
I might just have to sorry about this, everybody. I have to stop sharing to share something else. It's a little bit of a pain, but bear with us. I shall just get that up now. Hopefully we should be able to see it. Bear with me.
I'll tell you what, Callie, don't bother. Go on to the Cabinet Office one, please.
All right. Okay.
Because I think that follows on nicely.
The Cabinet Office.
There you go, guys. Hope you can see this as clear as I can.
Oh, right. Sorry. Cabinet Office. Right. I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah. The Cabinet Office. This in 4th of November 2022. So it's two and a bit years old. Right. Thank you for your email. Freedom of Information request. And clearly states the Bill of Rights still in power. Coronation Act still in power. Treason Act 1351 still in power.
Yeah.
Right. So if they're still in power, and they are the hierarchy of laws, how did they get to UK statutory law, which is only a rule and not law, to make it law? They can't. They don't have the jurisdiction, they don't have the state, and they don't have the authority. So we go back. So that's for people to see. It's there. You can see it, right? It's on public forums. It's on websites. It's all over the places. It's a well-known common law document that everybody uses.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep.
So I'll tell you what we'll go. Metric martyrs ruling.
Yep. Get that up.
Yeah.
Metric. With metric martyrs. Okay. Yeah, got it.
Right. Now, this metric martyrs ruling, everybody goes, oh, I don't need it. When I Google it, it says it's S. Thorburn by some city of weights and measures. That's nonsense. They've tried to bury it. There's the public thing. That's why I've done it in blue. And what you want to notice, guys, is this. This has actually come from the judge. It's paragraph 62, paragraph 63. Also states in there and warns any of the commercial entities, that's the councils, the courts that came in 2008, that you cannot mess with the hierarchy of law. So there it is. Bill of Rights, and it's R. Thorburn v. City of Sunderland, 2002, commonly referred to as the Metric Martyrs Judgment. There is a provision in the Bill of Rights Act which states all grants of promises of fines and forfeitures of any particular person before conviction are illegal and void.
And it's interesting that they've tried to bury it, isn't it? Shock horror. Let's all fall over.
So if you get a parking ticket, I don't give council tax, enforcement notice, anything, what you do is you put your CPR rules in. Simple as that. No transparency. Who give you my data? Use removal of my data. I'm going to put a document linking everything in. You then sign everything in an affidavit. You have 40 days to respond. Failure to respond gives you judgment, because we're not dealing with public entities anymore. We're dealing with private corporations that are running from the same corporation. I'm going to prove that to you in a minute. It also says in the Bill of Rights, any and all laws that are repugnant to the Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Rights, Magna Carta, and the Great Charter of Liberty are therefore void and being as such. So any law that we don't agree with, we can say, no, that breaches my constitutional right. It's void. Don't apply to me. There you go away. That's our power. That's our right in law. We dictate the law, nobody else.
And that's why they don't want us to have trial by juries anymore, where the jury actually has to nullify under jury nullification anything that is like this abhorrent, basically. And they don't
It's
want
repugnant. It's repugnant. We are only supposed to be tried by 12 jurors of our equal.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Right? And under the Juries Act, it states that there must be people who know you, so they can judge to the fact of whether you would commit that crime.
Of
your peers. So it's people that know you. And this is why they did away with it.
Yeah.
This is why they've tried to do away with it, but they can't. They're in the wrong jurisdiction. Parliament is only legislative. It is statutes. Statutes are nothing but rules. So if we go from there, Carly, and that's simple, bring Lord Coke up, my dear.
Coke. Let's find him. Where is he? Lord Coke. Oh, he's on the other document, isn't he? Sorry, we've got a few up here.
Yeah, he's on the right. He's on the right one. He's the last one I sent you.
There he is. Lord Coke.
Right. Now, this is a parcel of, because obviously, if I wanted to put all this down, you can find this case, right? Lord Coke, the draftsman of the Petition of Rights. Why is that so important? Because this man started the Petition of Rights for the people, and the draftsman of the Bill of Rights and Declaration of Rights back in 1610. That's why it's so important to know who started these writings and when they were done. Now, this is the case of Tonham Bonham via the College of Things, right? There it is, common pleas, Dr. Bowman's case. In many cases, and this is what he stated as fact in law, the common law will control acts of Parliament. Hang on a minute. Doesn't Parliament tell us that they control us by acts and statutes?
Yeah.
You know, Pace Act, Road Traffic Act, Finance Act.
And the clue's in the title, it's an act.
It's an act. It's an absolute charade.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And sometimes adjudge them to be utterly void. For when an act of Parliament is against common right and reason, or repugnant, or impossible to be performed, the common law will control it and adjudge such an act to be void. Hang on. Whoa. What's this? Can we read that again, please, Carly?
For when an act of Parliament is against common right and reason, or repugnant or impossible to be performed, the common law will control it and adjudge such an act to be void.
Now, hang on a minute, guys. This is case law.
Yeah.
Not only case law, it's proven law.
Yeah.
And it states, which comes in with your maxims of law, first in time is first in right. So if the Bill of Rights is still in force, your Settlement Act, Properties Act, all those that go beyond this are still in force. Your Bill of Rights is still in force. Your Great Charter of Liberty is still in force.
Yeah.
And this, what does, and if you pull that last one up again, Carly, where the metric martyrs under the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, got it. There is a provision in the Bill of Rights, 1689, which states that all grants and promises of fines and forfeitures of a particular person before conviction are illegal and void, and any and all laws are repugnant to the Constitution. Bill of Rights are therefore void for being as such. So how can they fine you without a trial by jury of your peers, of 12 people that know you? Makes, like say, all fines that the police give, the council give, anyone wants to try and dish out, absolutely null and void, doesn't it, under the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, superior statute, etc., and so forth.
Yeah, and that's it. And he also states in this metric matters, which is not on this document, and he warns any of the officials that attempt to subvert the constitutional rights of the people. That's why this is a must read, is this document, is this judgment, because the three judges on this basically spelt it out, that all acts of Parliament that are repugnant are void, and the Road Traffic Act is void. They didn't go as far as to say that, but they warned the board.
Yeah.
They warned them, and it's actually in the script. Honestly, it's so important that people get this message.
Very
right?
important.
The police have no powers. They are no longer police officers, as we understand them. They are stood under an attestation, an affirmation to the liege lord, which we'll go on to in a minute.
Yeah.
So if you put these two together, so the Bill of Rights says it, the Constitution says it, the Declaration of Rights states it, and your Magna Charta states it, because that's where Lord Coke got it from. And he put it into the Declaration of Rights and the Bill of Rights, which have now been joined together, or Parliament believes it has, because it wants to change the wording. Well, we don't think so, and they can get off our rights, right? So if we go on now to...
Get off our rights. Sorry, I had to do that.
Yeah,
okay.
Get off our rights. Get off our rights. You are sacked, and we are now charging you for misconduct in public office. So if we go on now to the head of CPS, can pull that photograph up, guys.
So this is if you want me to pull it, I think it's this one, is it?
Yeah, that's the one.
Park.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at that, and you can see, we've photographed it off of Wikipedia. .org. So it's a government website.
Yeah.
Right. And you can see there, agency executive. So the CPS, now Director of Public Prosecutions, is an agency.
Yeah.
Agency of what? It's supposed to be from the sovereign office of the monarch, who holds the sovereignty of the people to be able to bring a charge against the sovereign man. But if you scroll up and enlarge that, if you can enlarge it on there, if you look at type, and you can see up there, guys, it says agency override, wikipedia.org. .org is government.
Yeah.
Okay. Type, what does it say? Non-ministerial government department. What?
Yeah. So they don't have the authority.
So again, Parliament can't delegate authority. The Queen can't delegate authority. So where do they presume to get their authority from to bring any case or claim against anybody?
Yeah.
They haven't got it.
Which is huge, isn't it? I mean, like, you know, we're talking about this in a quite calm, just I'm trying to just get the information out in a linear manner, but like that, they literally have no authority. You know, the police are just, people in fancy,
It's
dress.
fancy dress. It's fancy dress because
Exactly.
they are the same. They are a non-ministerial department of the government.
Yeah.
Right? Simple as that. They're working from a central hub on license.
Yeah.
It used to be Pitcom. People who follow me will know that I show Pitcom 233. You can still get at it on Companies House. And it states they've now dissolved that company because they got caught. We caught them with it. And they dissolved it within weeks of us literally smashing the back doors in with it. And that's not a euphemism for anything else. I mean, we just literally kept sending it to them and said, right, you must now explain why you are a private corporation working from this corporation. So every police force is under license to the government, to a non-ministerial government department. So hang on a minute, we've now got the police and non-government department. We've got the CPS, a non-government department of an agency. Hang on a minute, excuse me. We've also got the judges who are now incorporated, and not only that, who authorises them. Have a look at them. They're all prepaid judges by Parliament.
Yeah.
Say again. Now, what happened to the doctrine of supremacy of the Separation of Powers Act? It's a doctrine. You can't change it.
Yeah.
All powers must be separated. But Parliament has now got us to believe that they are judge, jury, executioner, and their officers are judge, jury, and executioner, and they can do whatever they want because they are now working under UK statutory authority, which isn't anything. It is not law. It cannot be law, and it breaches your constitutional rights. And therefore, anything that breaches your constitutional rights is treason. And it stated that in the letter of Lord Kilmore. And there's the treasons. Here's the separation of what is it for it? It is also, and this is where we get them now. If you click on, Carly, misconduct in public office.
Conduct. Which document was that one? Sorry again, Terry.
Misconduct in public office, Scott.
Misconduct. Oh, right. So yes, I have it. Okay,
MIPO.
I have it.
Right, as you can clearly see there. Right, we now just charge them with all misconduct in public office.
Yeah.
Because they're not in public office, not as we understand it. They're in private office, working from non-delegated powers that can't be delegated, running under EU law, which is void because it's repugnant to the Constitution, it's repugnant to the Magna Charta, and it's republic to the sovereign. Now, who are the sovereign? We are.
Ta-da! I'll do some firework noises over this at the moment.
Yeah, if you want them, yeah. So you can see case laws there. They're for councillors, MPs. You can literally Google them at your pleasure, right?
Yeah.
And there you go, right? The admin court, 1709, 2019, upheld. There's the case law of the judge that was caught in misconduct in public office.
Is that the Lord Justice Levinson, Mr. Justice?
No, it's the DLVR 2011 EWC crime 1259, 18th of May 2011. Yeah, well, basically, all this is, as you can see, the judge pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit willful misconduct in public office. The trial lasted 3 weeks. There you go. You can read it yourself, guys. It's not for me to literally tell you what to think, right? You've got to get your spiritual mind working. You've got to realize who you are, what you are, or whether you want to stay asleep and be nothing more than a sheep, which is being led to slaughter. This is why you can't afford anything. They're trying to distract you with everything they can, and they're coming so heavy-handed. But if we get together and literally state, no, misconduct in public office. You're not in public office, guys. So we've got you. End game. You're in treason. You've been in treason since 1960 for attempting to subvert our constitutional rights by continuously lying to us, misleading us.
Yeah.
Because we're not under constitutional law anymore. There's not one constitutional monarchy court left in England. They've all been replaced by administrative courts, even the Royal Courts of Justice.
Yeah. And I think that's it, isn't it? In our minds, we think of that, the High Court, the Royal Court of Justice, etc. But like I say, it's all of them, literally all of them now. So
every single one. Because the point is, they're all supposed to be under oath to the Constitution. They're all supposed to be to the Coronation Act, right, which limits their authority to running under constitutional law. Because law is rigid. It cannot vary. Right. Yeah. So what they've done is they've now brought in statutory EU law, legislation law, where the judge makes his own decisions.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he violates our constitutional rights on a minute by minute basis. Going into one of these administrative courts is illegal. Simple as that. And if you fetch up the document, and there's one easy way to do that, Dark Matters, if you bring up the document that's marked.
Yeah.
Let me find it. I don't know if I've sent you it. It's the Declaration of. Shall I send you? It's the statutory declaration document.
I don't know. You didn't send me that one, but if you want to talk about it, and I can put it up.
Right, the statutory declaration document states under section 44, 2, I believe it is, of the Magistrates Court Act 1980, that any summons is automatically void. Any single just procedure is automatically void. Because no trial can start with a summons. You're in the wrong jurisdiction. So it breaches CPR 31, breaches CPR 31.6, 24, CPS 24.5. It breaches your constitutional rights because they've already issued a fine and forfeiture without law. Therefore, what does it state under the Constitution? It is void.
Yeah.
It states it in the Metric Martyrs ruling. Yeah. Right? Simple as that, guys. And we now state this is repugnant to our constitutional rights. Therefore, all acts of Parliament from 1960 are void. All of them.
Wow. I don't think that's the system finished with. And I think, you know, you've got your new site up, haven't you, Mr. Blue? And this is where we're going to try. And you're going to break this down for people so that people can begin to apply this, because that's what needs to happen. And we need numbers for that. You know, we need people to like, share, and subscribe. And that's not about our egos. That's about getting this message out there, because all the nonsense that's happening, I mean, I was having a chat with you, weren't I, off camera, you know, that Orchard organic farm, you know, they've just had DEFRA with armed guards like slaughtering 5,000 chickens because we know they're coming for the food supply. And tomorrow we're doing a podcast with Trina and Mr. Blue and myself and Mark Byford, because all this can be over if we can get people to just to get this. You know, it takes a few hours out of people's times, and I know it's that neural pathway thing, and you can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But you know, for the people that do have an awareness and do have even the truther scene that seem to be, you know, hell-bent on chewing themselves into pieces, you know, if we can just focus and come together on these key points, it's game over. But we need the numbers, don't we? We definitely
Well,
need.
it's not only just the numbers, but it needs everybody backing everybody, because what people forget is this, and I've just sent you that document over,
Right.
Gally,
It.
is this. If the court violates my constitutional rights, my common law rights, it also violates yours.
Yeah.
So if we all now put into the courts, you've breached my constitutional rights by bringing this case. I have seen the evidence. I have seen the issue of the fine and forfeiture before. What is it? This court, I have run this court and asked if this is an administrative court or is it a constitutional monarchy court? And the
Yeah.
answer is, and I've entered this court, and it clearly states in an administrative court that the judges are believed to be under delegated powers, where no power can be delegated, and therefore in the crime of extortion and misconduct in public office. We will now be bringing charges of this indictment as a nation. That's what the Constitution says. So we now literally go to, if you want to fetch that other document up, Carl, I don't know if you can get it quickly on this.
Yes, I've just brought it up. Let's get it on set. The statutory
So if
declaration.
yeah, that declaration, yeah. It's Doc 20, yeah, well, whatever.
Okay,
Right,
I've
you've
got
got
it.
it. Right. So if you look at this document now, right? What am I doing? 1 second, babe.
No worries.
It's not come up on for me now. Right. There we go. It's coming up. Right. If you look at this, criminal procedure rules. And this is a statutory declaration. Rule 44.2. So hang on a minute. What statutories? What is an act of parliament? Because it states it here. Rule 44.2, Magistrates Court Act 1980, Section 14 or Section 16E. So you tick them boxes, go down to notice of notes for guidance.
Yeah.
Under Section 14 or 16E of the Magistrates Court Act, a trial is void where, point one, the case starts with a summons.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me?
Uh,
So now under your own rules, because let's have a look what it says again at top, Carly.
yeah.
Magistrates Court Act 1980, Criminal Procedure Rule
Yeah.
44.2, under Section 14 and 16E. Let's go back to what it says under guidance for notes. Or notes for guidance, excuse me.
Yeah.
Do you want to read that out now, Carly, just in case people can't hear with it my thick accent?
Under Section 14 or 16E of the Magistrates Court Act 1980, a trial is void where the case started with a summons, requisition, or single justice procedure notice. So, boom, on their
So,
own paper.
so
Ow.
basically, you fill that in. You
Yeah.
literally say, you know, it breaches this, this, and this. it breaches my constitutional rights. You issued a fine and forfeiture before.
Yeah.
Right? Before a trial. You've then done this, this, and this. This case is now void, not only because it's repugnant to constitutional law, but because you did not issue me with full disclosure. That includes statement of truth and fact by the claimant. The claimant cannot be a trademark. So it can't be a private company that's fetching you to court.
Yeah. Yeah.
It has to
Exactly.
be a man. So if a man's fetching you to court, he now has to state that he saw you breach the law.
Yeah.
Well, he can't say that because he's now in conflict of interest because he works for the same company that's now trying to bring you to court.
Yes, exactly. And obviously that's why corporations and companies, etc., exist. So, corp dead, so that they can hide, living men and women can hide behind that fiction, and only a
Yep.
fiction, take a fiction into a fictional administrative court, and the person, of course, is the fiction, or the resident, the taxpayer, the occupier, whatever fictional label they want to give you as a living man and or woman.
Yeah, and this is what they're doing. So they've now put in the UK statutory rules, because it states it there, and Magistrates Court Act,
Yeah.
criminal procedure rules, Rule 44.2 of this Act, under Section 14 or Section 16E, is void because it started with an illegal summons or a single justice notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it breached your constitutional rights. Therefore, done. If you
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
know about it, if you didn't know about it and you've found out after 21 days, there's another document you fill in. I'm going to put that on my website as well so people can download all this stuff. There's also then, we now issue a pre-action notification that we are now going to start suing the judges, the court staff, under the Treason Act. Now, the Treason Act you need to read, because once you start that procedure, they lose everything, because everything is now claimed by us.
Yes. Well, it makes sense to me.
Right? So, and that's it. So
Yeah.
if everything they start is illegal and breaches their own rules and regulations, they're outside of the jurisdiction, running from several jurisdictions, which you can't do. Maximum law, there can only be one jurisdiction in a court. The judge has to tell you what jurisdiction you're in. When was the last time we went to a court and the judge said, right, are you aware that you are in this jurisdiction? Well, actually, no, I'm not. So we now have to vacate this trial.
Yeah.
Because I've come with the wrong argument. So we're arguing things in law and they're running under rules.
Yeah.
So how can you trump rules with law when they now believe that they can override law with rules?
Yeah.
Under the order of precedence. Now, we sent that in the last one. I'm not putting it up today because I want people to look at it and understand what it says, because it says there, will a judge, UK statutes will overwrite common law? Well, it can't. Not in England, it can't.
No.
Right, so the last thing I want to finish with very quickly is this. Can you put up the Privy Council letter?
Letter. Which one? What was that named?
It's the Gazette, London Gazette.
Oh, the Gazette. Yeah, I can do that. 1 second. That was London Gazette, Privy Council Office. Yes, I
Yep.
have it.
So what we're going to do now is I'm going to bring that up myself so I can see that. And then we're just going to finish on canon law. No, wrong one. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Right, got it.
Okay, great.
Right. So I've got it now. Right. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the rest of it, but what you can see, it's the Privy Council office, Saturday, September the 10th. Now, this has come straight out of the Gazette. You can Google it yourself. Yeah. This is about the death of the Queen. Now, what I want you to realise is this. When was the Queen became the Queen? 1952. I won't keep you in suspenders. How long is a trademark? 70 years. When did she die?
70 years from when she was sworn in, I would imagine, yes.
Yep. Well, it says there 2022. So from 52 to 2022, the trademark, the Crown Corporation, is now defunct. So there is no Crown. Google it. It'll tell you, you won't find it. You'll find Crown painters, write a letter to, King Charles. Well, he's not king because it now states it in open communication. Now, if we go down just to the last bit, sovereign happy memories becomes our lawful and rightful liege lord Charles III, by grace of God of the United Kingdom. We all know that the United Kingdom, and I've demonstrated this for everybody before the election, is nothing more than a corporation of Great Britain, one more corporation, and Northern Ireland, and his other realms and territories, King of Head of Commonwealth. Well, hang on a minute. If he's the head of Commonwealth and the king of Commonwealth, why is America taking Canada and rejoining the continent? Don't you think England should have a bit of a say of that? Because what's New Zealand? What's Australia? What's Canada? They're all part of the Commonwealth, are they not?
Yeah.
So, okay, and let's now crack on. Defender of the faith, which one?
Yeah.
Now, these are Christian lands. Christian. It cannot be any other. By right of the Great Charter of Liberty, the Magna Charta. It's as simple as that. It cannot change, because what is the Magna Charta? It is the cornerstone of all laws of England. All laws of England.
Yeah.
And this is where they've conned us. We now believe that you live in the United Kingdom. No, you don't. It's a corporation. It's a fictitious realm. Or the Great Britain. Again, no, you don't. It's a corporation. And we've demonstrated it. We've proven it to you. Right? Now, this is what makes me laugh. By God, whom kings and queens do reign and bless. Right? Hang on a minute. No, they don't. It is us that give them our sovereignty authority. It is us that make them great.
Yeah.
Nothing else. And they work for the office of king, which is a what? It's a public office.
Yeah.
What's a liege lord? It's not a public office.
Yeah. It's private.
Right? So it's a private office working for, and as head of state is head of the corporation.
Yeah.
We do acknowledge faith and obedience. Well, I'm telling you now, I don't. And I've never signed a contract to that bullshit either. Excuse my French.
Yeah.
And I will not be tied to some privy council who stands in treason by subverting our constitutional rights, making a false statement. It's not true.
No, it is not. And I think this is the thing, isn't it? We are the people of the covenant, again, without going too deep, but that's what Great Britain literally translates as, and then, we are the people of the covenant. Like I said, they're trying to put this de-establishment of the Christian church bill through, and a bill is a charge, isn't it? It's about energy, it's about money, it's about revenue. And it's in their jurisdiction, and this is what we've got to get across, and as you do beautifully, and back up everything that you say with evidence and case law, and this is what we've got to do our very, very best to get people to at least understand the basics of, and get this word out as far and as wide as we can. And obviously, like you say, within your site, you can show people how to use, that's a key thing for people, how they use this information, how they use the law, and their standing as a living man and woman against these corporate entities. And we do that en masse. It's game over.
It is. Look, we did it with 3 million and they ignored us. So now we put it into them, and we now, en masse, the 3.1 million, I beg you not to lose heart, to lose anything. Let's get this out to the people, and we now charge the entire parliament with misconduct in public office. You issue to your parliamentarian, your MP, your council, we are now coming for you.
Yeah.
Because there is no sovereignty anymore within the council. A council cannot be a unitary authority. 1 of 10 councils to try and save money. Who are they saving money for? The council, the United Kingdom Corporation. This is why there's no money left, because they're taking it all in profits. All profits of the council, all savings of the council, where did it used to go? Back to us.
Yeah.
Now where does it go? To
Offshore.
shareholders.
Yeah, exactly. I know that much now.
Right,
Exactly.
all goes to shareholders. There is not one penny piece that comes back to us, the people. This is why they're chopping and chopping and chopping everything.
Yeah.
Because they are told by their shareholders, we're not paying that out. No. Whoa, we're not paying that. That's too much. Don't care how you do it. Chop it.
Yeah. And
Right?
they've just...
I mean, we're in such an horrible state. Our forces, they say they've 72,000. That's a joke. There's not 72,000. I reckon the true number is around 50,000. 50 odd thousand. And I think they put in support workers and other bits and bobs. Right? We are at an absolute all-time dysfunctional place in our country. It's as simple as that. And it's the country of England. We do not reside in the United Kingdom. This is why all their paperwork has been perverted, because you're now under the United Kingdom Corporation's jurisdiction by usury benefits. And I've explained this. And if you don't get it, this is what America used to run under. Right? It's what most countries, Europe, runs under. You own nothing, you have nothing, and we will tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Well, we own nothing now because the land registry is owned by who? The United Kingdom Corporation. It is a private corporation with shareholders. It no longer holds the correct data. You try and get anything removed, they won't remove it.
Don't like that, no.
Right? Simple as that, because it's not owned by us.
Yeah. Well, that's
right?
it. And it's that data thing again. And you mentioned data, and we talk about data with Toshi, and as Toshi would say, it's all outrageous, and we're constantly handing over our data. That's why they don't want to, because our data is digital commodity to them. We take that back. That's for them. Exactly. Yeah.
It's money. So what, like I've said to you before, it is data protection.
Yeah.
1998, Section 10, Subsection 2. Write it all out. Tell them that they now must, by their own rules, remove all your data, personal data, all your private property data, because it's not to be used for anything other than your benefit.
Yeah.
Right? When you go into Dole office, don't let them tell you what you're going to do. Say, right, I want new forms, because you've now inverted and subverted our language. I'm not under the UK corporation, because that's what that means, isn't it? It means I'm under Great Britain. Well, Great Britain's a corporation. Here's the documents. I will literally share this week with you, Carly, just to bang up, or in a couple of minutes, just when we've ended this, just to show you the document that we put together showing the UK corporation and including the London Stock Exchange number.
Yeah.
We're floated on the stock exchange.
Of course we are. Yeah.
Now, how does the sovereign get floated on the London Stock Exchange? Because they've manipulated you from the creditor to the debtor. Now, I know that but what you've got to understand is this. Our taxes pays their wages.
Yeah.
What they take off us in fines and forfeitures and all the other stuff is their profit that they then split between themselves and their shareholders. Not one penny piece comes back to the public purse. Not one.
No.
And then what they do with that, and this is how they've worked it, they then tax those people taking the share money. So if you get, like we proved with the Bitcoin shareholders, 129 shareholders, 89 shares thing. They just got under £1 million a piece for 3 years, and we can prove that. It's in their shares, it's there, right? It's on Companies House. So if we round that up to £1 million just for round figures, so they all got £1 million a piece per year. That's 129 million that the taxpayer did not get, that the tax office did not get. So what they did is they then give that to individuals that bought shares, and they then taxed them 40% of that. So we lost 60% of that money.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way to look at it. But then let's put in tax breaks and everything that they can set it off with. They've got clever accountants. So they won't have paid a penny in taxes. And it goes to private trusts or Commonwealth trusts or goes into another company that offsets losses and it's just a minefield.
Yeah.
So none of our money came back to us, the people, to lessen our tax burdens.
Yeah.
Same with licensing the utility companies. All that money that we paid for our gas and the national insurance, let's not forget, it is paid 5 years in advance. 5 years in advance.
Exactly.
Right? So now all these credit companies can now just issue what they want, because they're all part of the same corporation. They're just a different department. The tax office, different department. The judiciary, different department. CPS, different department. The police, different department.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no separation of powers. There's no whatever, and they're all under the Act of Terrorism and Treason. Look at Terrorism Act 2006, Section 2.
Yeah. Exactly.
Terrorism Act 2015, Section 2 and 3. It's ridiculous. They are committing crimes under their own rules. Never mind ours.
And then they'll compartmentalize all these departments, won't they, in that sense? But like you say, there's no separation of powers anymore at all. And they've just boiled the proverbial frog over time so that we just forget, the Manasseh to forget. So, Parliament, parley to talk to the mind, control the mind, control the people. And we've just forgotten this. That it's like what we said in the last video, there is no general public. That's one of the biggest cons that's been thrown onto us, that we are the general public, that somehow we serve them. It's like, hang on a minute, no. You're the public servants. You serve us. We delegate that power, like I say, to that monarch. But it's all gone a bit tits.
And Parliament is voted in by the people, but it's not anymore. It's voted in by your voter card. It's voted in by your surname, which means that you are a public servant, citizen of the state, which basically means you are their slave. You will do what they tell you. And we've got to status correct that. Yes. And it's that simple. We now tell them that we are the sovereign. Here is the document. Lord Kilmore states it. It is our sovereignty. You are our servants. You are nothing but mere servants of the people. There's just been a case. Do you remember that that MP that smashed that bloke outside of walking up the streets, and this guy had a bit of a pop of him?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, well, he's just got sentenced to 10 weeks in prison as a bit of a shell. But what the judge said, you are a public servant. You do not have the authority to go around punishing people because they don't agree with you. Right? And you only got 10, you got 10 weeks purely and simply because the injuries were minor. If they'd, and only because somebody came in and stopped you.
Yeah.
Right? Now, the judge has stated, now his solicitor barrister was shocked. He went, Judge, what are you doing? The judges are now panicking. And we've got to apply the pressure now on every judge.
Yeah. And it
on
is
every judge.
It's that domino effect. It just seems to, for me personally, I should say personally, but it just seems to be happening way slower than I'd really like it. But it is happening, and they are aware now that we are aware. And it's only a time, but we also do need, you know, people still need to take action and right action at that. You know, these kind of adhesion contracts ultimately that they're just setting the terms, and it's our silence that's acquiescing to it. It's our ignorance, and as we know, ignorance is no defense of the law. You know, it's time to stand up,
and that's what they're depending on. That is what they're depending on. They're depending on. We never find out what they've done. Now we have found out. I've told you, and not only have I told you, but I backed it up with clear proof, evidence, and fact, and law.
He who makes the claim has to provide the
Has to
material.
prove it. So I proved it.